Costa, bruv. The first time fishing Ebenezer Dam. What do you think?
Unbelievable. Yeah, picturesque. Can't believe first day we got here 35 degrees, wake up the next morning, it's 20 degrees, clouds rolling in, mist, you can't even see 20 meters in front of you. Unbelievable. The backdrops, the fish, yeah, really special. I can see why you guys are so excited to come back here.
This place is amazing. Even though it doesn't hold the biggest fish, you know, in South Africa, it holds some really beautiful mirrors, and just the view. You know, it's tranquil, quiet, there's nobody around. At the moment there's a lot of holiday goers with the boats and all that, but we managed to work around all that, and we managed to land some really, really nice fish. So how's this for my first Ebenezer mirror for the session? It's been a crazy morning, we've had a couple of really good fish. Looking forward to the rest of the trip. Happy days.
My first ever Ebs fish. Done a few wild waters, but nothing like this. I mean, if you look behind me, the backdrops are incredible. The scenery is just breathtaking, and then you have fish like this just make it even better. This venue is known for a lot of mirrors, especially these types that look like hazelnut. It's unbelievable. I've never seen something like this. But yeah, really excited for what the session holds. We've had some unbelievable fish so far. Hopefully we get some of the bigger ones. Stunner. Those big scales on the flank, typical of these stunning Ebenezer carp, and they are very lively as well. Let's lift this one back. So finally back at Ebenezer Dam. It's been a long time in the making this. Can't remember the last time I visited this dam. In fact, I think this is the first time we fished this dam at this time of year. And the action has been off the chart. We normally get a lot of action, but this time round, I mean, we ran out of leads, starting to run out of bait. That tells a lot. So Ebenezer Dam, back here with Bran and Costa from the UK.
One.
Show me our carp box.
3.
Costa comes over once a year in December for an annual holiday carping trip. So we thought, bring into Ebenezer Dam. We knew we were never going to catch, well, I don't want to say never, because there's every chance of catching a bigger fish, but it being December, this time of year, it's renowned, well, all over the country, it's renowned for doing smaller fish, right? But it being Ebenezer, we knew that if we catch smaller fish, it's going to end up being a pretty stamp of fish. And I'm sure Costa will agree that what these fish lack in size, they definitely made up for in beauty.
No, it's actually, I didn't think it was this big, I'll be honest. But we've kind of positioned ourselves in an area that typically has good form. We've commanded quite a vast majority of the water in front of us. You know, we've split up quite nicely, and I think we've all done really well. We've all had a lot of fish. We all started off with kind of different tactics, but come to the end of the session, you know, it seems like the tiger nuts were the way to go.
No, we originally started with the pop-ups to try to get into some fish really, really quick, and it worked. I mean, the first day was chaotic. Have you ever woke up and had a busy spell like that in a long time?
No, that hasn't happened in a very long time. I mean, I think after the first night, we had caught, what, 10, 12 fish? Something like that. So it's absolutely crazy. I mean, yeah, special place. Like I said, we came here, we weren't going to catch the biggest fish, but I tell you, these mirrors are stunning.
I mean, we had so much action that we could keep our phones in our pockets and get all these live takes, us running down to our rods.
Yeah.
There's not really much snags and stuff, so we were able to do it in a safe manner. Hey.
Get there.
Yeah. And we got some really, really epic footage whilst catching a lot of fish for a change. Normally we don't get time to film.
And it's not easy. It's not easy to really, you know, have a productive session and film at the same time.
Yeah.
But luckily there's 3 of us, so we can kind of share the responsibility. But we finished all our 10-ounce leads. It was so epic that the last couple of runs we've had to take 2 6-ounce leads and, you know, cable tie them together, because the problem is we're fishing 400, 500 meters out, so you need a heavy lead to make sure that you hold bottom, especially with all the boats and jet skis and swimmers and everything that's happening in front of you.
You just need to give yourself that opportunity to make sure you present it. But yeah, epic. I can see why this venue is regarded by many anglers in South Africa as a special place.
Struggled to get into big fish initially. So the first day we had a lot of runs. Bran was into a couple of fish on the first day. It seems like that middle section of the dam really produced well in the beginning. However, it was a smaller stamp of fish. I'm fishing to the left hand side, controls a bit more water. It's a fairly big body of water. It controls a bit more water. I fish at quite a distance, in excess of about 450 meters. And it was fairly quiet for me that first day. So Ebenezer has been renowned for delivering fish on pop-ups. Now the reason I think that is because this water is so clear, it just stands out, right? So that's what pop-up fishing is all about. In my personal view, pop-up fishing is more about the visibility aspect than anything else. So I made the suggestion to run with the pop-ups initially, right? So I told the guys, listen, I'm gonna go in with 3 pop-ups on hinges. Did that, they followed suit, and if I remember correctly, the first fish was a little cat. Now I did tell the guys that if the cats do become a nuisance, we might have to switch up the strategy and jump off the pop-ups. Now I've only ever had one session here where we struggled with the cats a bit. All the other sessions, in fact, my most prolific session here with my good mate Yaku, we were fishing pop-ups. So we were out on the tigers, initially started with the tigers, and on one rod I decided to go with the pop-up. So this was in the initial phases where we were playing with the pop-ups. We didn't quite know that the pop-ups was going to be this prolific, right? So I had one rod out on the pop-ups, and choose Bob, that was the only fish, the only rod producing fish. So we switched all of our rods over to pop-ups, ditched the tigers, and all of the rods started producing fish. Now don't ask me why that's the case. It is a bit of a weird scenario. That again, I think it has to do with the visibility and the color of the pop-ups. They really switch on to the yellows and pinks in Ebenezer Dam. The whites as well. We've done really good with the whites as well. So off the back of that session and sessions that followed, I suggested, listen, let's try the pop-ups. So like I said, first fish, unfortunately, it was a cat. So I told Bran, listen, I don't want to be catching these small cats, especially knowing that we're fishing at distance. We've only got a limited amount of leads here and feed, in fact. So I jumped off the pop-ups over to the tigers, and as soon as I did that, Bran had a take, his first take, and that ended up being a nice little mirror, right? So I think his second fish was a cat. So at that stage, I was a bit in two minds whether I should stick with the pop-ups or go with the tigers. But I decided, you know what, it seems like we're catching a smaller stamp of fish. So I jumped over to the tigers. Now, these aren't tiger nuts presented in the traditional way, which I would normally fish at any other venue, right? So I decided to go with a cluster rig, but again, not a cluster rig like you would fish it in the traditional sense. I opted to fish the cluster on a stiff hinge, right? So it sits up proud. The thing about Ebenezer Dam is it's got very steep slopes. There's loads of obstacles on the bottom, loads of rocks, and I always want to try and get my hook point as far away from those rocks as possible. So for that reason, I chose to go with the stiff hinge. And like I said, the cluster on the stiff hinge, you don't see that a lot, but that definitely seemed to produce the better fish, right? So fishing the left-hand side, most of the fish I had was around that 20-pound stamp of fish. And eventually a bigger one pulled through. Now I think our end goal, or well, not the end goal, but our ultimate achievement would have been to catch a 30-pound fish. So I landed a fish, absolutely beasted me in the margins, and I was pretty convinced this was going to be a 30-pound fish. Had the body for it, wide in the shoulders, stubby sort of fish, but unfortunately it seems like the fish recently spawned at Ebbs. So I think the right time of year, that fish would have definitely pushed that 30-pound mark, around 32, 33, maybe 34 pounds, right? Finally, one of the better fish we've been after, a smidget under 30 pounds. It came in at 29 pounds and 8 ounces. Those clusters are definitely pulling through. Now, if this wasn't enough, I've got another 2 better fish to boot. Conditions looks perfect for a big bite, so let's hope that bigger fish play ball. Slip this one back. I've got a rod out of the water, get that back, and hope for the best.
From your perspective, okay, obviously what rig did you fish with? Why did you fish it? What was your thoughts?
So the starting kind of process for me was 3 hinges. I went out with 3 different color pop-ups on each. I went in with a yellow, a white and a pink. The yellow went first, which did majority of the fish, to be quite honest, for my side. But as the session went on, you know, we got a few smaller fish that we didn't even land up, you know, putting in retainer slings. We just unhooked them at the net and let them go. But once we started utilizing the tiger nuts, it seemed to bring a bigger fish.
Yes, I started off on the stiff hinges, and then eventually I switched over to the spinners, just for the mere fact that I could just change the hooks.
Yeah.
So I would get the run, jump on the boat, land the fish, unhook the fish, change the hook, redrop, come back, just to save time. And I think that helped me get those runs so quickly.
Yeah, it's important, like you say, to make sure that you can do it as effectively as possible, because we're getting into so many fish. You can't be sitting and tying rigs, because you might lose an opportunity of getting another fish, right? Because if they're feeding, you want to make the most of those styles. So yeah, no, it was really amazing. Worked out in our favour.
No, it's great. I'm glad you were coming here and enjoying it again.
Yeah. The annual holiday session.
Yeah.
It's a yearly thing that
or should I call it a tradition now?
Yes,
It's been the last 4 years we've been doing this, so it's a tradition. But like I say, pity we didn't get into anything over 30 pounds, but that being said, unbelievable fish.
I'm gonna have to twist your arm to come in our proper pre-spawn times next year.
No, definitely. I mean, I can just only imagine and dream of what a 40-pound mirror in here would look like. And I'm sure they're swimming around here. It's just about the timing of year and making sure that the stars align. But yeah, unbelievable, boys. Appreciate it, and thanks for inviting me. Until next time. Yes! Yes!
Let's see. That's a sign of victory. Gotta be it.
Yes, boys.
Beautiful carp, boys. Beautiful. What a session, boys. Okay.